Tom Cheshire there. Well, Emily Lau is the former chairperson of Hong Kong's Democratic Party, joins us now. Emily, welcome to you. This new bill will criminalise subversion. The semantics of that are potentially problematic, aren't they? Subversion could be a very broadly defined word.
Exactly. And of course, we don't know what the content is going to be. As your reporter just said, they're going to thrash it out in the coming weeks. But it could be very broad, and it is not just the political activists who are concerned. I'm sure the business people, the professionals who travel to mainland China all the time, the same people who are very afraid of the extradition bill, which sparked off months of protests and violence last year. And now they are incorporating all of that: extradition, subversion, secession, terrorism, foreign interference. And it really could be the end of one country, two systems.
Yeah, I dare say that fear may be behind this issuing of a statement from the US, the UK, Canada and Australia. They say they are deeply concerned by this new legislation, but that could be seen or spun by Beijing as further examples of outside interference by the old colonial powers.
Well, the thing is, Hong Kong is an international city. I don't know how many Britons live in Hong Kong, maybe 100,000 or more than 80,000 Americans are here, and 300,000 Canadians and hundreds of thousands of Australians and so on. So it's a very international city. So it's not just Hong Kong people like myself who are impacted. It's all these foreign citizens and their companies. There are thousands of foreign companies operating here, investing, making money. So if these governments are concerned, we can understand. And we certainly hope that the international community will speak out. Of course, Britain has a responsibility because it's a former colonial power. And I'm happy to see the joint statement by the foreign ministers of various countries. But on Friday, the European Union is going to meet. I hope Hong Kong will be on the agenda. And then, of course, the US is trying to get it on the agenda of the United Nations. And then next month, the group of 7, the most powerful industrialized countries, will meet in America. And I hope Hong Kong will be on the agenda. And today, the Japanese government came out to express deep concern. So I certainly hope that it will become a big issue in the international community, in spite of the pandemic. Because of the pandemic, that's why China, the Communist Party, thinks they can just rush it through. But I call on the international community to speak out for the interests of the 7 million people, but also for your own citizens living and working in Hong Kong.
And Emily, do you think money will talk if talk of civil liberties doesn't? I mean, I looked at the statement from the US Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, who said that Hong Kong can no longer be considered to have, quote, a high degree of autonomy from mainland China. And he's wondering out loud whether perhaps investors will feel quite so sure about investing there.
Well, that's true. And I've spoken to some people, and they think some of the investors will leave. And one place they will go to is Singapore. And they say Singapore is already very, very happy because they will inherit many of these people. But some of the business people here tonight, you see on TV, they're saying, oh, it doesn't matter. We don't mind the tariffs. Well, let's see if it's really true. And the stock market in the coming days will tell us whether it will continue to rise or it will collapse. You're right. Hong Kong is a business city, and money does talk. And if the business people say, oh, we're not afraid of what the US government may do, is it really true? Let's find out. But I want to tell the US government not to punish the 7 million people. But if they want to target individuals in Hong Kong and in mainland China who are guilty of gross human rights violations by banning them, by freezing their properties and assets, that's great. Not just in America, because there are other countries, even in the UK, with the Magnitsky Act, and they can use it to target these officials and politicians.
Emily, many people in this country will remember those memorable scenes in 1997, the handover of Hong Kong, and those scenes of lorries of army lorries from China, soldiers ramrods straight, stony-faced, and are worried now that we may see perhaps the installation of a new type of security apparatus in Hong Kong, a much further extension of Beijing's power into the way, security-wise, Hong Kong works.
Exactly, because right now in Hong Kong, there are only three mainland agencies which can be set up here. One is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the People's Liberation Army and the Central Government Liaison Office. But now they're talking about setting up an office for national security. And maybe they will send national security people to come to Hong Kong to implement the mainland law. This is turning the Sino-British Joint Declaration and the Basic Law on its head. It's a complete breach of the Joint Declaration and breach of the Basic Law. And so that's why one country, two system is over. It's one country, one system. And that's why, no matter how busy he is, I think Prime Minister Boris Johnson must speak out. And you know, you cannot betray the almost 3 million British citizens who are living here, the British national overseas citizens, the BNO passport holders. They have no right of a vote in the UK, but they are British anyway. So I think many British people would agree with me that the country has responsibility for these people who now face grave danger.
The baton of opposition has passed from those in Hong Kong who helped organise one country, two systems back in the mid-1990s. There is a new generation of protesters, and we saw some in our correspondent's report just a few moments ago, young people who must, it has now to be considered, must face risks going forward if they continue to protest in the way they have done.
Well, exactly. And many people feel very sorry for the younger generation. And of course, many of them are not even BNO passport holders because they were born after 1997. They feel very, very disappointed, very upset, very frustrated, and they don't really see a future. That's why they resorted to such behavior. I mean, I don't support violence. I never did. But I can understand why some people, young or old, are so angry. And the way to deal with the problem is not to send the police out to beat them up, to lock them up, and so on. We've got almost 9,000 people arrested already, but not one single police officer has been arrested for police brutality. The way to heal the wounds is to start a dialogue. But now the Communist Party is going in the opposite direction. They are going to use more force on Hong Kong. They're even going to send their national security people here, maybe to start arresting people or sending them back to mainland China for trial. And over there, of course, there's complete lawlessness.
Emily, do you think ordinary people in the West are watching this and understanding what's happening closely enough? I mean, for instance, in my introduction to our report a few moments ago, I read that China's parliament, I mean, I misspoke, really, we should be talking about China's People's Congress. It's not a parliament in the way we would understand it to be.
Of course not. It's just a rubber stamp institution. But that's the way China is. And now, of course, there is this weakening in the West, knowing the true colors of the Communist Party. Because for many years, many leaders, many governments in the West think that by engaging the Communist Party, engaging China, they will bring China into the civilized world, become a responsible member of the international community. But now they find out that's not happening, whether it's with democracy, with locking people up in Xinjiang and other places, now trampling on the rights of Hong Kong and the Wuhan virus, all these things wake people up. So I hope people will understand and tell China that they cannot behave in such a barbaric way. And Hong Kong, tiny little Hong Kong, but we are a free, vibrant, and safe city. And now they want to destroy us.
Emily Lau is the former chairperson of Hong Kong's Democratic Party. Emily Lau, I really appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thank you.